Hey everybody, glad you came back. So we gotta freak out about this Arrow finale. Careful for spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, and I will talk about Titans, Deathstroke stuff in the video too. Hey kid, glad you came back. I know there's all kinds of questions based on that crazy cliffhanger, but I'll say new round of the Flash Ring giveaway starts now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. They're leaving all that big stuff for Season 6, Episode 1, so we don't know what the title for that is yet, but obviously most of that episode is going to be the rest of this story, sort of like a 2-hour episode just stretched over the finale and the premiere for next year. But don't worry, Arrow's coming back pretty much the same time it comes back every year. But big things first, we gotta freak out about Deathstroke kicking all that ass, the way Prometheus ended the episode. I think it's a fitting end for his character, and it answers exactly what happened. Now, there are a couple of characters that you think may have died off screen, but remember, until you see a body, it's not over. And really, the only exception I think to that is Prometheus, because Oliver was standing there watching him do it. The only reason they didn't show that is because this is the CW network, and little kids watch this TV show. They're not going to show that to a bunch of little kids. Like, you have one standing right here. William is witnessing all this happen, even though his eyes are shut. He's going to have to deal with the trauma of this. This is how superheroes are made, in tragedies like this. Supervillains too, but we can all speculate on what William's going to become someday in the future of whatever fiction this show has created. So a whole bunch of Easter eggs calling back to Season 1, to the comics. Let's start top 10. Welcome back, Deathstroke. Glad you came back, kid. There's so much exposition in this opening scene about Deathstroke's character, what's been happening to him while he's been in prison this whole time, since I think Season 3 was the last time we saw him, in what the terms of him helping Oliver out. Now, part of it he's doing out of his guilt for the things that he's done, but the real carrot that Oliver dangles is helping Slade find his son, Joseph. So Slade actually has 3 children in the comics. I don't know if we'll ever meet the other ones on the show, because we've seen Grant. So if you haven't read Teen Titans, they're all big Teen Titans DC Comics characters with their own sets of powers. Joseph is the one that the TV show has mentioned. His comic book name is Jericho. He has powers of mind control. They had that animated movie they just released, Teen Titans Judas Contract. He's a big part of that. He's mostly known as a good character. This is the New 52 look for his character, but for most of Teen Titans, this is what he looked like. Because of his power, he winds up getting used by Trigon, Raven's father, so it's this big thing that Arrow's probably never going to get into. So I'm not expecting Jericho on Arrow anytime soon. But a lot of that gets into what they're doing with the DC Teen Titans TV show that Jeff Johns is writing that's going to premiere next year on that DC streaming service. So I'll try to address that later in the show, because I think that Arrow largely has claim to the Deathstroke Manu Bennett version of the character. We don't know if he's going to be the Deathstroke of the Titans TV show or if they're going to recast someone else. They could choose to go either way. It depends on how connected to the Arrowverse the new Titan show is going to be. Slade explains that the Mirakuru's completely out of his system. He is fully in control of his mental faculties, so he is much closer to the early Season 2 version before he got the Mirakuru, went completely crazy, and started coming after Oliver because of Shadow. But they do name drop her a couple times as they're walking across the island. Reminds me of old times, kid. But number 9, Captain Boomerang double crosses them. So, ever since the Season 3 Arrow Flash crossover, he's been in that prison. So they let him out to help, but turns out that Prometheus got to him first, offered him a better deal. We didn't offer the deal to you, Slade, because we knew you probably wouldn't be interested. That's important if you're not really familiar with the Deathstroke character. It just sort of sets up the idea that he has a code, he's going to be honorable, and he has history with Oliver. And Captain Boomerang does not. He hates Oliver. He's a total douchebag. He's kind of a douchebag in the Suicide Squad movie. That's just who the character is. Digger Harkness will double-cross anyone. He has no honor. So they free everyone, there's a lot of funny back and forth, everybody's commenting on Deathstroke. I love the way that Team Arrow reacts to Deathstroke. Seriously, he killed your mother, you set him free. Nyssa and Merlin had a lot of great scenes like that. They even reference getting rid of the League of Assassins. But a lot of these midway scenes are just setting up a lot of the conflicts they're trying to resolve in the episode. So number 7, Deathstroke explains Oliver's true problem, his guilt over his father's death. You blame yourself for your father shooting himself and everything bad that's happened since then. You gotta let that go, kid. You gotta learn to live with it, but you gotta put it behind you. So Deathstroke is also kind of talking about himself too. All the terrible stuff that he's done, he feels like he's in a much more zen state right now. So number 6, it's all set up for Merlin also trying to do the same thing, put the past behind him, make amends with Thea for all the bad things that he's done. Like she says, he manipulated me into killing our best friend. And that was all the way back, I think, during the first 2 episodes of Arrow Season 3. That was a long time ago. Haven't thought about that in a while. but then proceeds to sacrifice himself or try to sacrifice himself when Thea steps on the landmine. So here's the important thing. A lot of people were messaging me about this on Twitter. Didn't Merlin die off screen? Because, everybody blew up at the end of the episode, so it's like, they're alive, aren't they? Yes, unless you see a body, they're not dead. So like I said at the beginning of the video, a very important concept in comic book TV shows and comic books in general. Just look at the smirk on Merlin's face as Captain Boomerang walks up and he's like, what's going on here? Why are you standing here? And Merlin smiles a little bit and you see the explosion from Thea's perspective. So all that she knows is that the mine went off. She doesn't know anything about Captain Boomerang showing up. But think about Merlin. What is his nickname? He's Merlin the Magician. So what they're doing is John Barrowman said that he's not coming back for Arrow Season 6. One, he could be lying just to heighten the surprise. Oh my god, did he actually die? Make you wonder. But two, I also think it's just because he's not going to be featured in a ton of episodes. We're going to make you ride the bench. We've been using you a little bit too much, so we're going to cycle in some other new characters. But if there's any doubt, 100%, I think that he is still alive to come back and do something in the future season if it's not going to be the first episode of Season 6. I think they'll answer a little bit more about what's going on with Captain Boomerang. And if Captain Boomerang survived, then Merlin probably survived too. So just do not worry, they're not going to kill really big comic book characters like that off screen. They would at least let you see that happen. Like when they killed Katie Cassidy the first time, you actually saw it happen. You saw like the life slowly fade from her, so you knew that she was dead. Number 5 though, Deathstroke double-crossing like a pro. I love the way he just punches Oliver out on a dime, but they all planned it in advance. I knew that Slade was going to do that, but later they revealed that Oliver set it up with him. I was actually kind of hoping that Slade was just going to call an audible and Oliver wouldn't know about it, so he'd be like, hey, why'd you hit me? Why'd you have to do that? Oh, well, I was just trying to maneuver us into this situation. So it was all just a ruse to get Dinah that sonic device so that she could get her canary cry back and they could free themselves. The interesting thing about this monastery too, it looks really cool, but Oliver said that he's never been inside it. We've seen maps of the island before, but there's this idea that it's so big that Oliver's never been to every single inch of it, so they could always surface new places. But part of me does wonder if they blew it up at the end, does that mean that we're not going to go back there? I think that we'll always go back to the island in some way, but I think they just want to let you know that they're blowing it up so that we're not going to be seeing it all the time during Season 6. But number 4, Team Arrow versus Team Prometheus. So you have Nyssa versus Talia, totally awesome fight. I love the way they talk about their history too. There's a lot of exposition in their fight. You abandoned me to a father that never loved me. You dissolved the League of Assassins. Father was never going to pass the mantle of leadership to a woman. So you get that really awesome canary on canary moment. I love Quentin too. He's really backing the new Dinah. They call her the Canary and he corrects them. It's Black Canary, and then just knocks out Katie Cassidy. No, trust me, I really needed to do that. So I am really wondering what she's going to be doing as a series regular in Season 6. So like the main villain of Season 6 is supposed to be called The Covenant. Maybe she'll be working with them because it sounds like there'll be a really big presence. But if she's going to be a series regular, that means she's going to be in most episodes. Then all these scenes of Deathstroke just mowing through all of Talia's League men. This is so much fun. So I know a lot of people were like, wait, is Deathstroke going to be fighting Prometheus? No, that's always going to be Oliver. That's his fight. Deathstroke is there for crowd control. Just because Crixus style, he can go berserker rage on all these people. But number 3, Oliver kills Kovar in the flashbacks. He was trying to keep him trapped on Purgatory. He gives him some pretty good scars to tell people about when he gets back home. But the funny thing here is that they were walking through the woods earlier in the episode. In present day, they step over a skeleton. That's Kovar's skeleton, so you already knew that he died in the flashbacks. Oliver said that he killed him a long time ago. So his fate was sealed. It was just a matter of how it was going to go down and what that death meant and how it was going to inform Oliver's character. So it was all about him being trapped in Purgatory. And as Slade explains to him, how he's been guilty about the death of his father this whole time, all the bad things that have happened, he has kind of been trapped in Purgatory for these past 5 seasons, and now he's slowly getting past that. So after he defeats Prometheus, that was what that big speech was about in present day. No matter what you do, I'm never going to become the man that you want me to become. Number 2, they mirror the scene on the boat when he hails them with the big bonfire. It's almost shot for shot exactly like it is in the first episode. I kind of wondered if they used any old footage for this, and I think they used a little bit, but most of it they did reshoot from new angles. So I think like 99% of this is brand new, because if you look at the coloring of the pilot episode, everything looks just a little bit different. I think they used a slightly different camera. So it's just a quicker version of the opening moments of the pilot, and he calls Moira, and that is the surprise person that Oliver teased, the cameo that he was like, I'm so happy this person came back, it means so much to the episode, and you find out why, because he's like crying to his mother, I'm so happy, please don't hang up, just listen to my voice. Did your father survive too? He also says that Sarah didn't survive. Remember, this version of Oliver at this point in the timeline didn't know that she made it off the island. And it's just a great way to end the episode. And it makes me wonder, because there's so much story to tell in episode 1 that finishes what's going on here after this cliffhanger, if we're gonna see more of this Moira scene or if this was all of it. But number 1, Oliver rescues his son off the boat. His son finally sees in broad daylight that he is the Green Arrow, and Prometheus kills himself, setting off all the bombs on the island. So they really want you to think that the island is no more. So even though I think that we'll continue to go back there, I mean, if Arrow goes for 7 seasons, of course they're going to go back to the island. It means so much to the character. It's just them saying that, hey, you know, we're probably not going to be coming back here for a while. But for those of you wondering how Team Arrow could survive that, they said that they were leaving the plane, they were going to the other side of the island with the Argus supply boat that's probably near where the underground prison is. And what is the underground prison if not a concrete enforced bunker? So if there were explosions going off all over the island, you would want to hide in the safest place, and that is the underground prison. So let me know in the comments, what did you guys think about the episode, and how do you think the Team Arrow survived that explosion? They really want to make you wonder, but I feel like the easiest way is for them to just climb into the underground prison. Biggest moments in the episode, though, are probably those speeches from Deathstroke about being guilty about the death of his father, and then Prometheus' speech at the end about William finally learning the truth of his father, the way that Oliver learned the truth of his father, Prometheus learned the truth of his father. You're gonna get to grow up and be together, you'll need each other, it's gonna be a long night, you know, before he blows everything up. Just a really sinister way of saying something really nice about how fathers and sons are really important, and I'm hoping that they do something cool with Oliver's son in the future of the show, so I'm not expecting any crazy superhero stuff, just expect William to pop up at least once per season in some meaningful way, like, hey, you know, coming to visit dad. But what's going to happen next is a whole bunch of footage dropped. Obviously the Game of Thrones trailer happened, so I'm working on my Flash Season 4 video. I'll post that next. Then there's more Game of Thrones, there's another Spider-Man trailer that dropped I'll do a video for, so I'll try to get through everything, but just leave all your DC TV requests in the comments, and I will do more Titans stuff. I'll talk about Deathstroke, the future of that character, what they can do with them on Arrow versus the other shows. And I'll say congratulations to the latest giveaway winner, David Rose. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. I will be doing weekly Flash DC TV videos every week during the break, so there's all kinds of stuff coming this summer. It is going to be awesome. So while you wait for everything, click here to rewatch that Game of Thrones Season 7 trailer, and you can click here for my Flash finale video. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.